I want to bring in my panel. I've been talking about, I've been building them up, so they're going to really deliver. Brad Blakeman is former Deputy Assistant to President George W. Bush. Erin Elmore, former RNC Deputy Press Secretary, Republican strategist, and Richard Fowler, Democratic strategist and Fox News contributor. Normally, I would go right to you, but I want to play a clip because I think Tommy teed it up. Here is that exchange, Elizabeth Warren immediately going at Bloomberg.
Wow. I mean, that was a visceral reaction that she had here. I think she must have hired some new young speechwriters that must have had their mouth put soap in it when they were little girls or boys, because it was hardcore. She dropped the mic. This was no longer about policy. This was about barbs and getting in those zingers and driving in that point. Because guess what she is now tomorrow? Every newspaper, every magazine, everything on Twitter is going to be about that line about the horse-faced lesbians, period.
Right. Although Elizabeth Warren has talked a good game in earlier debates, she's got a plan for everything. Maybe I told a bad joke. It came across really bad. And then the follow-up to that was Bloomberg looked flustered. Warren kept pressing, are you going to allow the women to come out from the NDAs? And he said, they will stay private. Again, the corporate point from Brad, you know, the old white male executive, we're keeping this private. It's not transparent. How did that come across?
Really bad. It was very cringeworthy on behalf of Bloomberg. And the thing about him is he should have hired some fresh members of his team to help cultivate responses that would have resonated with female voters. We know that the Caucasian housewives, if you will, aren't really thrilled with the Democrats these days. And just like Hillary couldn't bring it home, if this is going to be his attitude, he is not going to get their vote.
Although President Trump doesn't have, you know, whether white, no matter race, suburban women, it's not a strength for President Trump, we should say either. But
well, it is definitely a demographic that needs to be captured.
Right.
So in so doing, Bloomberg really should have come up with some solid answers.
Sound cavalier is not.
He should have come up with some answers that really would resonate with those women and say, hey, this is what I did and this is how I've changed, or just thought of something that sounded a little more cogent and sincere.
So from here on out, everybody jump in. I don't want to just say, hey, you go, but Richard.
Surface, there was never any delving into those deeper issues, and he just went off buzzwords, clicks, and pops, and there was really nothing to make it seem sincere.
Right.
But what I really liked was he thanked the help.
Trump.
And he wanted to distinguish himself as the person that can. He's that moderate. He's actually a Democrat. And I think he was very articulated in that point. I think he did a very good job tonight. I actually would say between him and Elizabeth Warren, he was probably the one that did the best. But I agree with you. He was trying to point out their flaws and say why he's different and that he is capable of beating Trump. He is a McKinsey consultant. He's very intelligent. He would probably be very good in debate against Trump.
Yeah. Brad, quick point, then we're going to go out to Buttigieg. And it was, you know, she scored, but to Brad's point, did it come across as a little much?
The dance she was doing was not an elegant salsa, truthfully, or a chip with salsa for that matter. She didn't know how to manage this process, it seemed. And she seemed catty and uncomfortable and didn't stay above the belt. And it really just didn't feel right. And it showed that side of her that you hear about in the media and hear about from her staff members. She's not that nice. She's not that warm and fuzzy. It's sort of how Hillary Clinton couldn't win over the women and the voters, because she just wasn't that woman you could sort of feel.
Likable.
Likable.
I hear that on the Republican side of the table. Democratic side of the table.
Tell us how more
tough, and you know she's argumentative or whatever. But
no, Bloomberg's not
no, he wasn't fuzzy either.
I just think Bloomberg didn't have a personality up there, right? But
well, that's another issue.
Her personality
don't get me wrong.
stunk.
Let's start from the beginning. I think that the basis of this whole argument was around, did she know the name of the president of Mexico?
And Amy tried to come out of the gate saying, like, look, I want to show some humility here. She tried to make it that sort of humble moment, but she really got tripped over her
But you
own
complete
feet.
your thought. Go ahead.
And throughout the debate, what we saw from her was she was very jovial. She told she had a couple of one-liner jokes throughout. And so I think this was not one of her best moments in the debate for sure.
Hang on, I'm saying
there's no way.
There's no viability.
She's not viable.
She's not even.
No, but it's beyond the polls. She actually has.
But wait a minute.
She did do well in New Hampshire.
She has delegates. Bloomberg does not.
She's she is that participation trophy.
Sorry, she gets more than a participation trophy.
She's on
she
participation trophy. All right,
Bloomberg does not.
I'll put her in a safe space. I'll put her in a safe space with her participation trophy, because there's no chance.
To win this nomination, you need delegates. Right. Bloomberg has 0 delegates. Amy Klobuchar has delegates.
He'll just buy them. He'll just buy them.
That's a
he
nice
will buy them.
Moving on.
We've spent a lot of time on the debate. Let's just take one step out of the debate and look at the big picture in the race. There was a moment, the Bloomberg campaign puts out a memo today that says, if you game this out, where we are in the polling right now, after Super Tuesday, it looks like Bernie will have, by calculations of 538.com, big website on this, which can be wrong. They were wrong about the 2016 election in some ways. They weren't predicting Donald Trump winning. That after Super Tuesday, the projections say Bernie Sanders could have 41% of the delegates. And you look at the other, even
The debates are moving the needle.
I think this debate will move the needle clearly. People who were in the pocket for Michael Bloomberg, now they're definitely thinking to themselves, I'm not sure if Michael Bloomberg is the horse that I want to pin my wagon to.
I agree with you in a way, but I also think it's not necessarily if the debate itself moves the needle, it's whether the headlines from the debate
Well, I can
move
tell
the
you,
needle.
I mean, some headlines have already come out, and the headlines are...
give us a couple of them so we can react.
The one was about...
U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren shines in a strong debate performance.
Who's saying this?
And newcomer Michael Bloomberg takes heat from all directions.
Yeah.
CNN.
You know, Mike Bloomberg shouldn't be crying. If you want,
Yes.
if you want to cry, then
But Bernie was out there, he's pointing at people, and Buttigieg, and they're smiling, they're waving. And Bloomberg had that like tense, robotic. I see Erin moving her arm.
Como arigato, miss.
Am I imagining that, or did you guys see something?
no, absolutely.
Totally.
That's who he is.
That's
I mean,
yeah.
if you look at, I watched some old tapes of Michael Bloomberg, and here's the truth: like debates in New York don't matter, like mayoral debates really don't matter. But along in the country, debates, Democratic debates actually do matter. Ask Kamala Harris, right? Ask
Yeah.
Joe Biden. So for Michael Bloomberg, this debate, the next poll we will see, so the polls that come out early next week, will show a definite disintegration of Michael Bloomberg.
Well, but that's a strong word, and Richard too.
So the reason why President Trump got elected was all of these people across America felt that they were never spoken to before, and President Trump spoke to them. And what I saw of Michael Bloomberg tonight is not one person that's in that pool is going to get up and say, that guy is speaking to me.
Yeah, right.
Because he was not speaking to any specific voter. He was still up in the air and his ivory tower with his expensive ads and his billions of dollars.
He was speaking
and
for himself.
Yep.
That's the problem.
That's a Republican.
There's no
view.
Trump phenomenon
We got a
there.
Democrat right here. What do you
Look,
think?
I don't think. I think if you vote, and let's be very real, if you voted for Trump in 2016, I don't think that's the people that we need to move. We need to move the folks who voted for Hillary Clinton, and we need to move the folks that sit at home.
It's at home, yeah.
Right, and those are some of those folks, those people.
Yeah.
Yep.
About that, I threw them up against the wall, and they were, and I apologize for throwing them up against the wall.
He used that phrase tonight. Those
Yeah,
people.
I spoke to some
those
of them.
people over there.
Oh, some of them. So
And-
what did you take that as like? He still doesn't get it.
No,
Yeah.
of course he doesn't get it, right? And I was on Sirius XM earlier on Urban Views, the black station there, talking to some of these folks, and
Yeah.
some of them were thinking about Michael Bloomberg. And in the most recent poll amongst African Americans, he was getting around 27%. He had picked up some of the share. Going to be the person that's going to.
But you see,
move you
the
forward.
stock, the Bloomberg stock is way down for you tonight.
Yes.
I wonder if you're overreacting, though. I'm just
I'm
playing
not.
devil's
So.
advocate because
I'm not.
okay, and you don't believe.
I agree with him 100%, believe it or not. And the two
yeah.
words that came to
He
my
still has a
mind,
checkbook.
tone deaf.
Yes.
Period. Tone deaf.
Brad, you agree?
Money does not buy support.
Mm.
Money will buy you advertising. Money will get you to a certain point in polling.
buy you some elected leaders.
But then it stops. I mean, look at Perot.
Democratic audience, and
Yeah.
your party, Richard, doesn't like rich guys making a lot of money. Am I
It's
wrong?
not about us liking rich guys making a lot of money. I think we want a system that's equitable. And I think with Elizabeth Warren, there was an answer where they talked about NDAs. And Elizabeth Warren, I think, talked about it the best. She's like, and I think that spoke to where he was with women, right? Like, so the women that are in our party that had hitched their wagon to Bloomberg are saying, okay, so I guess he's nice to some women.
What you're saying right now is what happened for Bloomberg in Vegas should
Should've
stay
stayed
in Vegas.
But are we, what I guess what I'm trying to play devil's advocate on Bloomberg.
Just
today,
about the
but
math.
I want to also be fair to Joe
Yeah.
Biden because you mentioned him. I wrote in my notes at about 9:24 Eastern time. They're having this extended debate on healthcare, and I noted earlier that Biden seemed MIA, and this is something he's the guy who said this is a big bleeping deal when President Obama signed Obamacare into law, and he's MIA. But then he jumped in about 9:20, and I want to build on Obamacare. He finally got there, but Brad. It takes him a long
time. I don't know whether he's hearing it. I don't know whether he's getting instructions. But the fact of the matter is, you're sitting there getting closer to TV saying, okay, when's he going to do it?
Yeah.
When's he going to do it? And he lets the others chime in.
because he gave a reasonable answer.
He gave
Yeah.
a reasonable answer, but it was too late.
But it takes you so long to get there.
And that's his problem. I think that there's and I'm really undecided in this primary, right?
I was going to ask you that because
I'm
I can't
absolutely
tell.
undecided. And I like it. It allows me to give good analysis on Fox Nation and Fox News and Fox Business. I don't know what's happening on the campaign. He's having a lot of disconnects.
Right.
And he's just not firing on all cylinders.
You can see sentences that don't quite come together.
I agree with you.
You're always hoping for that next time.
You're like, what do you got? What do you got, Joe?
You know what I
And
say?
he eventually gets there.
Show me the baby, not the labor pains.
All right, I'm not going to comment on that one. But
As a mother, I think I'm allowed to say that.
You're allowed to say that. I want to get to what's been trending. Drama/romance. Brad?
I think that's spot on.
You already answered that for me off camera, and you told me it was because his team has been with him forever.
Absolutely.
And he hasn't hired any fresh blood. What Trump did, at least when he was running, he hired all these new people from different orbs of
different.
political society. And you said
Quick
it best.
point, Richard, and I want to go out to Tom.
And I think when it comes to taxes, I think this is a very important point, right? In a world where you're contrasting against Donald Trump, a person that has not released his tax return.
Now you got a billionaire who won't
and a billionaire who says, and Donald Trump's main argument is, oh, my taxes are so complicated, and I'm being audited.
They've been audited.
And for you to sort of
on that, but I also don't want to forget, we were all sitting there together watching Bernie Sanders talk at one point about Denmark, and the quality of life is so much better. And I think, Brad, you looked it up. What do they have? 6 million people. They don't have much of a military.
6 million people, no military.
How is
a
that? Homogeneous
country. I mean, this is
a little divorced from reality.
Low corporate tax rate.
It is absolutely insane to even equate the United States of America with Denmark, and suddenly they're the gold standard that we have to rise to. There is no more powerful and generous and successful country as the United States of America. We don't need to look to Denmark.
oh boy.
You have 10 seconds to write the headline for tomorrow's paper. Without looking at your notes, Richard. I saw you. What's your headline?
Warren wins big.
Ooh.
Well, that's a good one. Barbs and jabs a la Jerry Springer. No substantive talk for 2 hours.
Well, that's kind of a long headline.
It was a
No,
haiku.
there might have
It
been
was
a
a haiku,
subhead in
okay.
there. But this is kind of a fun game, Brad.
Bloomberg, if I only had a heart.
I'll take some of yours. So I'll
Okay.
say Warren wins big. Barbs and jabs at Bloomberg.
Killing it.
I like it. I like that he came together, because if you had asked me, I was going to head in that direction. Sort of a Warren wins, Bloomberg sags. But I'm not sure the Bloomberg stock is as low as you think tonight. But you know what? We might be able to do this again next week.
Yeah.
And we'll see where we go. Another debate coming Tuesday. Stick with us. Feed us out online. Give us a little feedback on Twitter or on Facebook. Check out the app at Fox Nation. We love that you're subscribing. If you're not a member, sign up now for your free trial. You might be seeing us on Facebook.